Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of GTM in the Tofu Bowl. My guest today is Max Greenwald, founder and CEO of Warmly. I'm super excited to chat with you. We've known each other for a long time, so this will be fun. You always have spicy takes.
I'm excited to get spicy in the tofu bowl. Tofu is not usually spicy.
It can be, depends on how you make it.
That's
It's like
true.
a vehicle for sauces. What I like about our name and our logo, it's like we can do so many fun things with it. You can kind of like do all kinds of tofu stuff. I keep wanting to do I keep getting shut down on this, but I want to do like a make your own tofu scramble at an event. But if an event is anywhere at a hotel or venue, they keep saying you can't bring external food like that. So someday we'll
one
figure it
day,
out.
one day, one day soon.
Yeah. We've known each other a while, and one thing I've always just loved about you, Max, is like I feel like you're fearless in so many ways. You just are not afraid to completely pivot or like throw everything out the window, not afraid to take a big swing, not afraid to directly call out competitors or say things that are somewhat antithetical. So have you always been like that, or is that something you've had to learn?
Well, I have a very specific moment where I think I developed my no shame. And I actually went to a meditation retreat when I was like 17. And this guru said, you should think about your life like you're living above your body and you're just a dumb puppet, just a bag of meat or whatever. And you should watch yourself from above and realize that whatever you do on the ground is just your silly human body doing whatever it wants. And so as you watch yourself from above, you should feel free to like be weird, be different, be strange. And then if someone laughs at you or calls you a name or says you're stupid, like your ego, your id is living above you. And so you can avoid that sort of criticism. So it was just a weird thing that stuck with me and I think made me realize, yeah, I can, I guess say whatever I want, do whatever. I mean, obviously the reason, but like I can be a little bit out there. And if someone disagrees with it or thinks it's wrong, then like I don't take deep personal offense because I'm this puppet master living above my body, and that has freed my soul to be able to be a little bit spicy.
I love that. I did not think I was going to get such a good story out of that. So thank you. That was fun.
You're welcome.
Um, Question for you: what are your biggest pet peeves, or what's driving you nuts about the go-to-market space right now?
Great question. I think the biggest thing that's driving me nuts right now is the fight between sales and marketing over who should own SDR. So it's my
Ha.
belief that as we evolve in a world where we're merging inbound and outbound, that top of funnel entirely pipeline driving should be driven by marketing. And this is somewhat controversial. And there's sort of like three main reasons, of like what an SDR, three main things an SDR does. First, they drive pipeline through like actually creating book meetings. Second, they serve as a future stepping stone to be the next generation of AEs. And then third, they are essentially sort of like a feeler for the market in terms of what messaging is working and can bring that back to the organization. In that middle ground case where you want them to be your future AEs, I get why sales is excited of and prefers to have their SDR organization refer in through sales. But more and more now I'm seeing marketers saying, I'm yanking SDR into my side of the world so that I can have a full view of the different channels that would drive top of funnel pipeline and to own just a single number and have one person responsible for it. So that's one example of a thing making me frustrated in the sales and marketing world. I have 10 more examples, but we'll start there.
Well, on that one, I'm actually in your camp 100%, and I've thought this way for so long. I own an SDR org 10 years ago when I was on the marketing side. And to me, it made logical sense of their demand gen. Like they're literally driving, leading demand
Mm-hmm.
gen,
Yeah.
just like the entire marketing function is supposed to. One thing that I've also never understood is the whole argument of we're training the future AEs of the world. No, you're not. You
Mm.
think cold calling and booking meetings is teaching people how to close a deal? In what
Interesting. Yeah.
world? Like, in what world is that actually a training ground to teach them how to close a deal? They're not shadowing AEs. They're not dipping their toes into small deals and actually running them end to end. They're a meeting booking machine. And so to me, that argument has just been so flawed from day one. And I'm like, do you think by me, like, working with engineers, somehow I'm going to be a future engineer? Like, hell no. I need to go and actually learn that skill.
Well said. I think that's great. And I guess there are SDR programs where I think really it's sort of the carrot at the end of it. Kind of the feeling was it sucks to cold call. We have to start on the bottom somewhere. You want to give people an inspirational path to end up at sales leadership. And so I think that was sort of for a long time the promise was the SDR, then VAE, then do whatever. And I think that there are a lot of career SDRs that are very valuable and successful, and you can be an SDR leader, an SDR manager, an SDR director, all staying top of funnel. And I actually have seen a lot of SDRs go into marketing. We just took that for the first time. We actually took one of our SDRs who loves to post on LinkedIn and is hilarious. And we sort of promoted her, like cross-laterally moved her into sort of the social media arm of our marketing team.
I like that. And I think that's a natural path. And I think that people who are early in their careers on any go to market function should have visibility into the entire go to market org, and they can figure out what the right path for them is. It's not even necessarily what the business needs. It's literally for this individual, what is that right path for them? I think that should be how everyone does it. I guess the other piece on the SDRs though that I want your take on is, do SDRs go away? Like, is this going to be a moot point in 5 years?
No, I don't think so. I'm a pretty strong believer in the existence of the SDR. Really, we're going to need fewer SDRs. They're going to all be AI enabled and be supported by a lot of like machine outbound generating kind of activities. I think the channels for SDRs are going to change. I think for example, I think email is a good example. I don't think SDR should be an email. Email is going to become a channel that you can fully automate, and it'll be kind of like ads. Like I almost see emails today, or what they're headed towards, as advertisements, which is like you'll open them, you probably won't click, you'll probably delete them very quickly, but you have like a quick flash of something. And that's just what an advertisement is, right? And like when marketers think about retargeting today, they think about retargeting via ads. But now that you can connect to automatically and scale dozens of fake email accounts and or your actual human sellers accounts, and same thing with LinkedIn, honestly. You can essentially generate A/B tests, and you can automate retargeting campaigns via email and LinkedIn, just like you can with ads. And so I would give those to the power of to the marketer. And this again depends on the industry and the type of business, et cetera. But I would move those to marketing, take them away from SDR. That's what's going to be automated with AI. And I would tell the SDRs, do what humans do best: build connections. So post on LinkedIn, make funny memes. DM people, show up at events, cold call, send snail mail, and every SaaS person in the digital remote world is gonna hate me for saying this, but go door to door. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but like if you have a US based SDR that you're paying like $90K a year for, those fools should be city to city in a car. They should be going co-working space to co-working space, and they should be just showing up and doing in-person work, because that's what human beings can differentiate on.
Yeah, I agree. The in-person stuff is definitely having its moment again now. What you said something interesting. I want to back up a bit. You mentioned retargeting via email, which I agree. I think that a lot of these sequencing tools that no longer fall under the whole can spam issue allow you to take in groups of people that have shown intent, done an action, and then retarget them. I saw you post though about something recently where you also added chatbot into that mix, which I didn't understand. So what does that mean when you say retargeting via chatbot?
Good question. So for the longest time, a chatbot was something that had to be fully manned. Like, well, first off, there was no chatbots on websites. Then all of a sudden it was like, oh, we can kind of like interact with the people visiting our site. But it was sort of a, little chatbot in the corner. Someone would click on the button and say, I'd like to speak to a representative. It would ping them internally, and they'd sort of respond and whatever. Now we have, and Warmly has one of these, an intent-based chatbot that uses AI at scale to engage with leads. So if a lead is showing intent, the second they hit your website, our chatbot can detect that and then pop up a message saying like, hey, Elaine, welcome to the site. Or, hey, looks like someone from Tofu is coming by our site. So you can actually sort of engage them that way. And the reason I think of it as retargeting is that, let's say I send an email to you. Let's say you click on that email and that email sends you to our site. I can then pop up a chat message saying, hey, thanks for clicking on our email. Sounds like on the email you understood blah. Here's one level deeper, blah. I want to like kind of push you further in the funnel. And you may not set up a meeting just then. You're still hitting my website for the first time, or maybe it depends on what page you're on, but you're continuously retargeting that person. They engage them in the chatbot. Maybe they reply, maybe they ask a question, and then maybe they click on a link from the chatbot that sends them another page. And then, maybe they don't book a meeting then, but then you update that to say, actually, they're warmer than they used to be, so let's serve them a different kind of ads. So it's sort of like drip sequencing them across multi-channel, including chat on the website as a channel.
I like that. I hadn't thought about that before, but it makes sense, especially if you get their email via something, meaning they took an action, whether it was de-anonymized web traffic, whether it was downloaded an asset via a third party, you somehow have their email. So you're emailing them, which is now another channel, which
Mhm.
you can then cookie them to drive them back, and you can show them that personalized experience via what they've already done and the intent they've
Yep.
shown. I hadn't thought of that. We actually don't use a chatbot, so I like that. I might have to steal that one.
Take ours for sure. And the other thing to think about, and this sort of gets back to what SDRs can do as humans, is Warmly's chatbot does this. Others should do as well. But we allow for real-time alerts to SDRs the second a high-value prospect comes to the site, and it allows you to roll out the red carpet. So an automated message for sure can go out and handle it. But we actually let you in real time watch your prospect navigate the website, where their mouse goes, what they're clicking on, while they're learning. And you can chat them and say, hey, real person here. And you can even turn on your video camera and you can wave at them. So they're not turning on their video camera, but you're saying, listen, I'm a real person. Like, there's a human right here. Let's chat. And so we call that warm calling. It's sort of like cold calling, except it's warm because you know stuff about them and they're free because they're on the website. So it's sort of another way that, human SDRs can add value in a way that AI just can't.
I'm collecting personal data points here, but I've talked to so many founders about the cold calling thing. And it just boggles my mind that people in 2025 pick up the phone. I have not personally picked up my phone in like 8 years unless
Yeah.
I know you or like you're my mom. Are you
Yeah.
guys doing cold calling at Warmly, and is it actually working?
Yeah. Than use Orem as our cold call power dialer. It is not our highest performing channel. It is a channel that works. And I do think that, a couple of book meetings a month, power dial, 30 minutes a day. We have a joint warm call, cold call power session where you'll have warm calls on one side and cold calls on the other. So you're power dialing cold numbers, maybe intent driven numbers, because we usually basically cold call people who have shown some intent via signal. They're much more likely to pick up. And then at the same time, we also have SDRs on the website chatting with people. So you're like chatting with people on the website as your dialer is going, and whoever responds to you first, you just start to have a conversation. It is fair to say all channels are decreasing in response rate because people are getting used to the spam and the noise. And that's tough, sort of struggling a bit. But it's still valuable, still works.
I'm glad you mentioned the more like intent-based calling, because to me, whether it's outbound email, outbound call, outbound anything, it also just seems really, really silly that people are doing like buy a list or get a completely cold list. There's so many ways to capture signals right now.
Yeah.
I actually like the term signals. I kind of hated the term intent, but I'm kind of into signals because at least signals feels actionable. It's like I have a very specific thing that this person did that gives me a very specific way of interacting with them, which also should also tell you channel and stuff like that. But I don't think we'd ever pure cold call.
Yeah, totally. In the same way that I also would never pure warm intro either. So a lot of early stage founders will say, hey, investor, who can you intro me to? And they're like, I don't know, I have 10 portfolio companies. And it's like, great, intro me to all of them. And it's like, hey, will you talk to this random portco of mine because they're like kind of cool? It's like, no. But instead, if you were to go to your investor or someone else in your network and say, this particular company, which you have a connection to, has been spending time on our website or has been researching topics related to what we sell or has been posting on LinkedIn about blog, can you please connect us? You have a much higher reply rate. And actually, my pro tip for any founder out there is I almost never try to get an introduction to the other founder, but I always go through the founder. So let's say my ICP is marketing. What I'll do is I'll say, hey, investor, can you intro me to the founder of this other company because there's been someone on their marketing team has been showing intent, and ask that founder to forward me to their marketing team. And so instead of me cold emailing the marketer, I'm going through an investor who's going through the founders or leadership team who's going to the marketer. That marketer for sure is going to reply. It would look pretty bad if they didn't. And so it's just sort of a way to guarantee a reply.
I totally agree. That's exactly my MO as well. It's like your founder is going to open and respond to the investor. The leader or the IC is going to definitely respond to the CEO or your founder.
Yep.
So that's definitely the way to get it.
If you want to be even spicier, do what I do and never put anyone on BCC. So usually what happens is the founder puts the investor on BCC and then the marketer puts the CEO on BCC. I add them back in, I'm super mean about it. And I add them back in to keep flooding their inbox because I want to put the pressure on the marketer to sign and book the meeting with me. And I know that if everyone gets BCC'd, it might take a month. So I like loop them back in, I'm chatting with them. How are you? No, whatever. And it's like, I get meetings booked twice as fast.
Oh, that's so smart. Yeah, I've not done that. I love that. Okay. Also, another one. I'm going to add all these to my little repertoire. Okay, another hot take I have that I feel like you might have a different take. My take is marketing in particular. Other orgs maybe, but marketers are not ready for agents right now. I have just found that maybe they're a little bit more risk averse as a group of people. Maybe it's very subjective and people have opinions on everything and actually care more about their subjective opinions than data. But I have just found that marketers are not ready for autonomous agents. What's your take? And I'm saying right now.
Yeah, I disagree with you entirely. So I actually think that salespeople are not ready for agents, and AI sales agents aren't there, and that salespeople pride themselves on their humanness and their value. And I mean, well, generally all human workers are a little agent trepidatious because they sort of want to believe they'll still, as humans, be valuable and relevant in their organization. But I think maybe I'll say marketers are more ready for agents than salespeople is some compromise we could land on. But given that my homepage of my website right now says AI agents for marketers, I'm going to obviously go to the mat that they are ready. And
Totally.
I think the reason in my head is because they have smaller teams. They really love A/B testing, and they're being asked to hit up prospects on an omni-channel approach, so across like 5, 6, 7 different channels. But they don't always have the time, bandwidth, or energy to go handle and get in the details of all those channels. So if they can run an agent on a channel, they can almost have an extra head count to kind of like handle that channel. But that's my take.
How are you navigating? So I agree with everything you said. I think where I get caught up, or at least where I'm getting caught up with customers, is that it's the subjectivity and the feeling out of control. Like people are like, well, what if it uses a word that's not on brand? I mean, cost of failure is so low. I keep telling them, like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to die.
Yeah.
However, people feel very particular about this in my experience.
Okay, so then it comes down to what's your go-to-market strategy and who's your ICP. If you're selling enterprise contracts, or if you're selling the Fortune 500, or if your TAM is small, the cost of failure is higher. Oh, what if we burn that lead? Whatever. But if you're selling to horizontal to 20K, 10K CVs to like anybody and their mom, then like the cost of failure is super low. So I think it's then easier to let some agent go wild and do its best. I also think that there's probably some human in the loop sort of stopgaps that I've seen where it's like agent does everything up until pressing send, and then there's sort of some sort of manual QA and review before actually like they go out to market.
That's fair. Is that how your customers are typically using you guys now?
Yeah, I would say it's more like the smaller our customer, the more AI they want to use and don't care or don't have bandwidth or time. The bigger the customer, the more QA, the more risk averse they are, and therefore the more QA they want on agentic workflows. But they're also being told by their board that they need to be using AI by the end of the year or they're fired. And so it's just it is fascinating, this sort of like changing of the guard that we're witnessing.
I agree. And I feel like the last 6 months, there's been two major conversations that have happened in real time. One is you're getting top down pressure from board CEOs to use AI. It's a dictate, literally. The other one that I'm finding is it's finally okay, at least in what I'm seeing, it's finally okay for people to talk about AI replacing headcount. Last year, that was not a kosher thing to say. And now all of a sudden, It's not only okay, it's a good thing. Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, I mean, the big, rally cry was the Shopify CEO's email that came out recently that basically said, like, you can't hire a headcount unless you tell me why you can't solve this with AI. Right now, I think the conversation is net new headcount. Let's, try to use AI first. Then the conversation is probably going to shift to when someone on my team leaves, my backfill we're going to try to use AI instead. What's going to be really what we have not seen and will probably take a little while, and what nobody really wants as human beings is like, hey, cut your department in half and replace it with AI. But the next time we go through a serious recession, there needs to be layoffs. I'll be curious to see if like layoffs happen, a bunch of these zombie sassicorns or zombicorns or whatever get cut in half headcount wise. If we will see when boom times come back, if boom times means hire people again, or if they want to stay lean.
Yeah, I agree with that statement completely. I think people are going to stay as lean as they can, as long as they can. And it's as opposed to hiring a net new person, we're going to hopefully incentivize people not to grow a little fiefdom, but incentivize them to be more efficient and to actually
Yep.
better results for your people, which before was not how people were measured. I think agencies are also the ones that are going to see the biggest impact in the next year or two. It feels like that's an easy one where it's not saying we're cutting headcount, we're not
Yeah,
actually
we'll
doing
also
a RIF
see
or
that
anything like that.
agencies will use a
Go
sorry, I
ahead.
think I
Sorry.
cut out for a second. Just that I think agencies will massively reduce, or sorry, agencies will use AI. Yeah, headcount and agencies will go down because they will see a big pressure to increase margin.
Yeah, agree. I think it's either margin or also taking on more clients. It's like, how can we go and take on 5x the number of clients with the same number of people at our agency? Either way. What are you most
Very cool.
excited
Yeah, I
about for
agree
the
with that.
next year or two? What do you think is coming around the corner on the go-to-market side?
Um, I think it's just going to be really funny to watch AI talk to AI, and I think there's going to be like AI agents talking to AI agents about buying AI agents. And I think it's going to be some like funny examples of like things just feeling broken because it's like, what are we doing? You know, it's like these like LinkedIn AI bots. It's like LinkedIn post with AI, LinkedIn comment with AI, LinkedIn like with AI. And it's like, who's even here? You know? So I think we'll have to figure out how to make sure some human to human conversations still happen.
I had a funny experience a couple months ago. I I was part of the problem. I was testing multiple AI note takers, and I had two that joined with me. But I joined a call where there was like five other people on the call, and I got there first. So it was me and seven AI note takers. And that once you have that first experience, you're like, oh god, this is where things are
Yeah,
going.
me
And
and the AI squad are here.
I've had this existential crisis multiple times in my career, where I'm kind of like, what are we doing in general? We're selling to software, like on the VC side, it was like we're
Oh
backing
yeah.
companies that are selling to the other companies that are selling to the other companies. And even now, it's like we are selling to software companies who sell to software companies who sell to software companies. And now it's like we're creating agents to talk to agents to talk to agents. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. It's fun though. It's fun to grow and fun to be at the edge of what technology is possible. I think that's what gets me excited. It's like we are pushing bounds in so many ways and trying things that just weren't even feasible a few years
Yep.
ago, 2 years ago.
Absolutely. Elaine, I got to go in just a minute, but do you have any last questions for me before we wrap?
Any words of wisdom to some other budding go-to-market people out there?
Keep it real. Share what you're doing on LinkedIn. Let's all learn together. The markets are huge, and I feel like working together, we can be more effective than feeling like we got to keep anything guarded to our chest. I think the age of building in private or building in stealth is over. I just think it's better to share. And if you ever want to see Warmly's metrics and numbers, follow me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to. And I'm always sharing what I'm learning, and hope to learn the same from you.
I've always been so impressed your ability to build in public and also just be very authentic and transparent in public. So more people like you. But thanks for joining, Max.
Thanks for having me on. Bye, Elaine.
Bye. Talk to you later.